Ever since Donald and Douglas had swapped their identities, they had become ever so wary that the Fat Controller did not find out about their deceiving. Percy had been the only engine to know, having promised not to tell anyone, but the Scottish twins felt that somehow word had got out, and this made them ever so anxious. This showed, too, as they went about their daily work.
I'm worried, Donald. What if the young controller finds out about what we did? I can't imagine what would happen to us. Dinna fash yourself. I heard the young enthusiasts. They told me that we were safe here. There's no chance we'll be sold for scrap. We're practically a full-time heritage railway now. But all the same, the Fat Controller wouldn't be pleased with us. That much I know.
The twins decided to keep their wits about them as they carried out their demanding workload. Showing a positive attitude, they bustled about pulling trucks and coaches up and down the main line, and some up Edward and Duck's branch lines too. Things ran like clockwork, and nothing else was said about the twins' trick. Until one day the Fat Controller came to see them outside the yards. "Donald and Douglas, a fresh train of coal has arrived from Wales for us to use in our railway and partnering lines. I'd like you two to fetch it and bring it down to Tidmouth. It's waiting at Barrow, so you'll be double in it." He gave them both a stern look. No reason to be switching tinders again, I'm sure." He swung on his heels and strolled back to his car, leaving a very startled pair of engines at a loss for words.
How did he find out?
Donald gasped as soon as the Fat Controller was out of earshot.
Someone's gone and tricked us now. We must have been told upon.
It all too suddenly dawned upon their funnels.
Wait till I find that pesky pest of Percy. We'll show him a thing or two.
Percy was at the station. He was preparing to move some empty trucks up Thomas's branch line for Toby to use on the tramway. Donald and Douglas cruised quietly up, one on each side.
Look here, Saddle Tank. What right have you gone telling the Fat Controller about us swapping our tenders again?
Percy was in shock. He hadn't seen nor heard either of them rolling up to him.
Don't be so daft. You know I didn't tell him. We promised.
Oh, and I suppose the Fat Controller found out by himself then.
But I didn't tell him. I know I didn't tell him. How could I have told him? I've been working on the branch line. I haven't had the chance to tell him.
If you were at John Thomas's branch, then who was shunting at the harbour?
I saw Diesel shunting up there this morning, but Oliver took over so he could go do some shunting further up the main line.
When they reached Wellsworth, they met Bill and Ben, who were taking on water.
Oh, good morning, you two. You wouldn't happen to have seen Diesel today, would you?
"What do you want to see Diesel for?" laughed Bill.
He told on us. Now we want to pay him out.
"We haven't seen him, but when you find him, be sure to play a good trick on him. That's what we did when Boko took our trucks."
We may just be doing that. Thank you.
Diesel was quite occupied, busy shunting the trucks in their proper sidings. There was no one else around, therefore it became a surprise to Diesel when some of the trucks he had just shunted came rolling back towards him. Grr, what is the meaning of this?
You told on me and Dougie, didn't you?
Nonsense, I haven't got time for this. Now let me out.
Tell us why you told the Fat Controller on us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't play that trick on us, or we'll squash you like a brake van.
Diesel had nothing to say. He just sat there, trying to figure out what was going on. It was lucky for him that Edward the Blue Engine turned up.
Donald? Douglas? What on Sodor is going on here? You two are meant to be fetching that coal train. It's waiting for you. Leave Diesel to do the shunting, and clear off. But Edward, Diesel has... No more, Donald. Be on your way. I'll handle Diesel. Are you alright then, Diesel?
Yes. Thank you, Edward.
Will that be all then? I must be on my way.
Diesel was simply speechless. He could not get any more words past his radiator. But as Edward began to move off, he regained his voice. Why, Edward?
Why what?
Why did you stick up for me? You didn't just leave Donald and Douglas to...
We're not in the 50s anymore, Diesel. We should stick up for each other. Steam, diesel, electric, we all still ride the same rails. That's what Stepney told me when he visited in 1963. It's sort of a policy between engines on the Bluebell Railway. Cheerio.
Diesel sat silently in the sidings, partly confused about Donald and Douglas, and partly confused on Edward's words. Ever since he had paid duck out on his first arrival, the steam engines had not treated him with the same equality. As for Donald and Douglas, they couldn't have known that the Fat Controller had found out about their trick himself. He didn't tell them that the logbook at the works read that Douglas was to be repaired, when he should have been on display for the rail enthusiasts. Being used to the twins' ways, there was only one answer to the matter. The Caledonian pair took an immediate dislike to Diesel. True, they were wary of him before their suspicion, but now they seemed to take it in their stride. Whenever Steam and Diesel met, they made sure they treated him the way they thought he had treated them.
You mean to say you don't remember telling the Fat Control that we swapped our tenders just because Dougie was out of order? Pah, we don't believe you. How could we?
This became such a habit that the other engines began to believe the rumours too. Douglas was due to take a train of schoolchildren, who were waiting on the platform for the engine to back down to the coaches. I'm sorry to hear what that Diesel got you into, Douglas. He can be a pain in the bunker, that Diesel can. Any Diesel could. I never liked him myself. The fireman climbed down to couple the tender to the coaches, and the driver went off to talk to the guard. This is where the trouble began. One of the boys took the opportunity to show off to his friends, so he clambered to Douglas's cab. He had been up on the footplate before, and decided to show off to his schoolmates that he could drive the train himself. Douglas felt movement in his cab, but assumed it was his driver.
Oh, excuse me, I best be off. Talk to you later, Westerners.
But Douglas, you're not coupled to your train. Why are you leaving?
Douglas didn't hear. They had a splendid run. The coaches ran very quietly, the firebox burned bright, and they were going at such a speed that they were bound to reach the next station early.
Oh, we took that corner a wee bit fast, didn't we? Never mind. You really didn't hear me with the sea wind.
He carried on, until they neared the next station.
Shouldn't we whistle for the crossing driver and slow down to the station?
There was no reply for a moment. Douglas was so shocked he thought he'd lose his train.
Hold on! You're not me driver! Who are you? How did you... Pull me whistle chain! We're going to the station!
The boy scrambled about until he found the whistle cord. He pulled it in 2 long blasts as the surprised passengers on the platform watched the number 10 race past them. The station master was startled and quickly called ahead to warn up the next station. Much further down the line, Donald had brought some loaded goods into the yard. He was just about to head off, when Diesel broke his train of thought, running fast. Douglas has lost his driver. He's become a runaway. You must stop him.
Will you ever learn to stop lying, Diesel?
I'm not lying, Donald. You have to try and stop him. He'll be here soon.
Oof, if he was a runaway, why don't you stop him yourself?
I'm not strong enough or fast enough to stop him. You'll have to do it now, before it's too late. Trust me, Donald. You would if you realised how much we do have in common.
Ha! Diesel, I can promise to you, I'm not falling for another trick of yours. There's no way that my twin Dougie has become a runaway. Help!
Donald leaps straight into action.
Don't get in trouble! Don't fast yourself, I'm on my way!
The chase was on. Donald set chase on the runaway engine, and Siegmund fed the tracks clear along the line.
How on earth does this happen? A young lad hopped into my cab and thought he'd be trying to be my driver. He didn't know how to stop me and wouldn't listen to a word I say. Never mind. We get to stop in no time.
Crossing tracks, number 9 joined Douglas's line, and over the course of a few miles, the driver began to ease off the regulator. Donald braked the pair to slow them down until they reached a steady speed, slow enough to let another person aboard. And that is just what they did. As they approached the next station, they saw a fireman waiting on the platform. Drawing in, the man stole up to Douglas's footplate, only to see a very frightened schoolboy standing huddled amongst a pile of coal. Donald and Douglas, I am pleased with you both. I am proud of you, Douglas, for going through such an uncalled for event, even if it was not your fault. As for you, Donald, you were very brave to rescue your brother, and it seems you got to him just in time. Any later, and you would have had to run to the next station.
Aye, thank you, sir. I couldn't have got to Dougie in time if it hadn't been for Diesel. He can race into the yard to tell me.
I see. Well, then you've learnt from your mistakes, and I think you've made up for tricking me with your tenders. You are both really useful engines. A credit to me railway. So the boy apologised for what he'd done. That's good. At least he had the decency to apologise after doing such a thing to you, Douglas.
Aye, but now I think I'd like to say a wee apology to Diesel. I mean, he did tell me when Douglas was a runaway, and I didn't listen to him.
It's alright, Donald. No need to apologise. I had already figured out for you swapping your tenders, but I still honestly can't say I told the Fat Controller about it.
Ugh, not mad at us then? For a thing you told him?
No, Douglas, I'm not. We all still ride the same rails, and if I didn't forgive you now, then I'd have to at some point. I might as well just do it now. I'd have liked this Diesel a lot better when you first arrived. And with that, a united band of Steam and Diesel fell happily asleep.